Welcome to my channel, Hotspot with Loveth, the ultimate spot for all things entertainment, ranging from celebrity gists, reviews, interesting stories, and African folktales. Subscribe now. Rita's brilliance in class was undeniable. From the moment she stepped into the classroom, she exuded an aura of intelligence and confidence that set her apart from her peers. Her hand shut up eagerly at every question, her mind a wellspring of knowledge waiting to be shared. Teachers marveled at her aptitude for learning, often singling her out as an example for the rest of the class. Whether it was solving complex maths, equations, or dissecting intricate literary passages, Rita tackled each challenge with gusto, earning the admiration of her instructors and the envy of her classmates. But it wasn't just her academic achievements that made Rita stand out. It was her fearless attitude and unwavering determination. She was never one to back down from a challenge, always willing to speak up for what she believed in and defended those who couldn't defend themselves. Her reputation as the brightest and most talented student in the school was cemented when Mr. Thompson, her chemistry teacher, called her to the front of the most senior class to solve a particular difficult equation. The seniors, including Fred, Damian, and Eric, watched in disbelief as Rita effortlessly unraveled the problem, earning praise and admiration from her classmates and teachers alike. But for Fred, Damian, and Eric, Rita's success was a bitter pill to swallow. They resented her intelligence and envied her popularity, feeling overshadowed by her brilliance. Determined to put her in her place, they concocted a plan to knock her down a peg and restore their own sense of superiority. Their opportunity came one afternoon as Rita made her way home from school. Unknown to her, Fred, Damian, and Eric lay in wait, hidden among the trees along her usual route. As Rita approached, lost in thought about her academic triumph, the three boys sprang into action, blocking her path and launching their attack. Fred, Damian, and Eric stepped out from the shadows, forming a menacing line in front of Rita. Their expressions were a mix of anger and smug satisfaction. Rita, caught off guard, stopped in her tracks and quickly assessed the situation. Well, if it isn't the little genius, Fred sneered, his voice dripping with malice. Think you're so smart, don't you? Rita's eyes narrowed, but she remained calm. What do you want, Fred? We want to teach you a lesson, Eric replied, stepping forward with a cruel grin. Before Rita could react, Eric attacked her, landing her a stinging slap across her cheek. The force of the blow sent her smuggling backward, but she quickly regained her balance. Her mind raced, evaluating her options and looking for a way out. Fred and Damian grabbed her arm, spinning her in place. Rita's heart pounded in her chest, but she forced herself to stay composed. She knew she couldn't overpower them physically, but she could outthink them. As Fred and Damian held her down, Eric moved closer, a cruel smirk on his face. He leaned in, his breath hot against Rita's ear as he whispered threats and insults. Rita clenched her jaw, refusing to let them see her fear. But then, something unexpected happened. Just as Eric raised his hand to strike again, Rita's mind raced with a sudden realization. She remembered something she had learned in self-defense class, a simple technique to break free from an attacker's grip. With lightning speed, Rita twisted her body and kicked out with all her strength, catching Eric by surprise. He stumbled backward, his grip loosening on her arms. Seizing the opportunity, Rita broke free and sprinted towards the nearest exit, her heart pounding in her chest. Fred and Damian shouted in anger as they gave her a good chase, but Rita was already ahead of them. She knew she had to reach safely before they caught up with her. With every ounce of determination, she pushed herself to run faster, her breath coming in enraged gasps. Finally, she burst out of the trees and onto the main road, where she spotted a group of people ahead. With a surge of relief, she raced towards them, shouting for help. The bystanders quickly intervened. However, Fred, Damian, and Eric were apprehended before they could do any more harm. Rita called a cab that drove her to her father's office directly. As she directed, She reported the incident to her father. Rita's heart raced as the cab sped through the bustling streets towards her father's office. The events of the afternoon replayed in her mind, the fear, the adrenaline, and the determination that had driven her to escape. When the cab finally pulled up to the large, imposing building, she hurried inside, her mind set on one thing: justice. Her father's office was on the top floor, a testament to his status and authority. As she entered, the receptionist looked up, her eyes widening in surprise at the sight of Rita's disheveled state. Without waiting for a greeting, Rita made her way to her father's office, pushing open the heavy wooden door. General Martin Crown looked up from his desk, his stern expression softening as he saw his daughter. "Rita, what happened?" he asked, rising to his feet. The position of Rita's father as an army general was unknown to many, as she was a very humble girl, not known to brag. Rita quickly recounted the attack, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. As she spoke, General Crown's expression grew darker, a fierce protectiveness rising within him. "Those boys will not get away with this," he said firmly, picking up the phone to make a call. "You did the right thing coming to me." The next morning, the air was thick with anticipation as the students gathered for the morning assembly. Rita arrived at school with her father and an entourage of military personnel. The imposing sight of the uniformed men sent a wave of shock and murmurs through the crowd. General Crown, a man of imposing stature and stern demeanor, stood out among them, his presence commanding immediate respect. As they approached the assembly, Principal Harris stepped forward, his expression a mix of concern and curiosity. "General Crown, what brings you here today?" he asked, trying to maintain a calm demeanor. General Crown's voice was steady and authoritative. "I am here regarding an incident involving my daughter, Rita. She was attacked yesterday by 3 boys from this school. I demand to see them immediately." Principal Harris blinked in surprise, taken aback by the directness of the request. I wasn't aware of this, please. Who are these boys?" "Fred, Damian, and Eric," Rita replied, her voice strong and clear despite the tension in the air. Principal Harris nodded, signaling to a nearby teacher. After a few moments, the teacher returned, looking flustered. "The boys aren't here today, Principal. They have not shown up." A flicker of anger crossed General Crown's face. "Then I need your addresses now." There was a moment of hesitation before Principal Harris relented. "Of course, General, please come with me to my office." The assembly watched in stunned silence as the group moved towards the principal's office. Once inside, Principal Harris provided the address, his hand slightly trembling as he handed over the information. General Crown turned to Rita, his eyes softening. "You did well, my daughter. Go to your class. I'll handle this." Rita nodded, hugging her father tightly before heading to her classroom. She could feel the weight of the students' gazes on her, but she held her head high, determined not to let the fear control her. Back in the principal's office, General Crown made a few calls. Within minutes, a plan was set in motion. The military entourage divided into 3 groups, each heading to one of the boys' homes. Fred was the first to be found. His mother opened the door, her face paling as she saw the stern-faced soldiers standing on her porch. Fred was quickly brought forward, his bravado evaporating in the face of the imposing figures. As he was escorted back to the school, his head hanging low, his mother kept screaming and asking what her son did and drove behind them. Damian's home was next. His father tried to protest, but a single steely glance from General Crown silenced him. Damian, too, was brought back to the school, his fear evident in his eyes. His father also followed behind. The 3rd boy, Eric, proved to be more elusive, but after a thorough search, he was found hiding in a neighbor's shed. He was dragged out, his face pale and sweaty, and taken back to the school along with the others. By the time the 3 boys were assembled in the principal's office, they were visibly shaken. General Crown stood before them, his expression stern. "You little brats, you thought you could get away with attacking my daughter?" he began, his voice low and dangerous. "You thought there would be no consequences." The boys remained silent, their bravado completely stripped away. Principal Harris watched, a mixture of relief and concern on his face. General Crown continued, his tone unwavering. "You have made a grave mistake, but you will face the consequences of your actions. This will not be brushed under the rug. He turned to Principal Harris. I expect the school to take immediate disciplinary action against these boys. Expulsion would be appropriate. Additionally, I will be pressing charges. They need to understand that such behavior has serious repercussions. Principal Harris nodded, his expression grim. Of course, General, we will take all necessary actions. The two parents begged, but the general did not budge. Rita, sitting in her classroom, felt a mix of relief and apprehension. She knew her father would not let this go, and while she was grateful for his protection, she also worried about the fallout. She couldn't help but think about the boys' lives and how this would change them. But she also knew they needed to learn a lesson. As the day went on, news of the morning's event spread through the school like wildfire. Rita's classmates approached her with a mix of admiration and curiosity. Some offered words of support, while others seemed wary, as if unsure how to reconcile the image of the brilliant student with the girl who had faced such a terrifying ordeal. Rita's teachers, too, were more attentive, ensuring she felt safe and supported. The administration moved quickly, expelling Fred, Damian, and Eric, and collaborating with the police to press charges. The school also initiated new anti-bullying programs and increased security measures, ensuring such incidents would be less likely in the future. In the days that followed, Rita found herself reflecting on the events and their aftermath. She had always believed in standing up for herself, but this experience had shown her the power of resilience and the importance of justice. Her father's decisive actions had not only ensured her safety, but had also set a precedent that bullying would not be tolerated. Months later, at the school assembly, Principal Harris addressed the students, acknowledging the changes that had been implemented and thanking Rita for her bravery. Rita was called to the stage. As she stood before her peers, Rita spoke with a confidence and maturity that belied her age. What happened to me should never happen to anyone. We all have a responsibility to stand up against bullying and to protect each other. I hope that by sharing my story, we can all work together to create a safer and more respectful school environment. Her words were met with applause, and as she looked out over the crowd, she saw not just admiration, but a collective determination to make their school a better place. Rita's journey had been a harrowing one, but it had also forged a path for positive change. She had faced fear and emerged stronger, her intelligence and courage shining brighter than ever. And in doing so, she had inspired her entire school to rise above their challenges and strive for a better future. Rita's journey from high school to university was marked by her determination and resilience. Graduating as the best student, she was offered a scholarship to one of the most prestigious universities in the country. Her academic prowess, coupled with her leadership in the anti-bullying campaign, made her a standout candidate. At the university, Rita continued to shine. She majored in psychology with a minor in sociology, driven by her passion for understanding human behavior and helping others. From the very start, she became involved in student organization, quickly rising to leadership roles. Her reputation for intelligence and integrity spread rapidly across the campus. Rita decided to establish an anti-bullying campaign at the university. She named it Stand Tall and rallied students from various disciplines to join the cause. The campaign focused on raising awareness about the impact of bullying, providing support to victims, and promoting a culture of respect and kindness. Her efforts didn't go unnoticed. The university administration supported her initiative, providing resources and funding for events and workshops. Rita's campaign gained momentum, and she often found herself speaking at seminars and workshops, sharing her experiences and encouraging others to stand against bullying. During one of the events, Rita caught the eye of Jake, a popular theater arts student who was also the director of socials at the university. Jake was known for his charisma and talent, and he was deeply involved in organizing social events and performances on campus. Impressed by Rita's passion and eloquence, he decided to introduce himself after her speech. "Hi, I'm Jake," he said, extending his hand. "I just wanted to say, your speech was incredible. Your work with Stantol is really inspiring. Rita smiled, shaking his hand. Thank you, Jake. It's great to meet you. I've heard a lot about your theatre productions. They're amazing. From that moment, a connection sparked between them. They began to spend more time together, attending each other's events and supporting each other's endeavors. Jake would often invite Rita to his rehearsals, while Rita introduced Jake to the workings of her campaign. Their mutual respect and admiration blossomed into a deep friendship and eventually into a romance. Their relationship became the talk of the campus. Rita and Jake were seen as the power couple, combining their talents and passions to create positive change. They were inseparable, their love for each other growing stronger with each passing day. However, not everyone was happy about their relationship. Lisa, a fellow student who had long harbored feelings for Jake, grew increasingly jealous of Rita. Unable to accept that Jake had chosen someone else, she concocted a plan to drive them apart. Lisa framed Jake by creating fake messages and photos that suggested he was having an affair with her. She sent these to Rita, who was devastated. Despite her intelligence and strength, the pain and betrayal she felt clouded her judgment. She confronted Jake, but he denied everything, pleading with her to believe him. Rita, hurt and unable to see past the evidence Lisa had fabricated, decided to distance herself from Jake. The separation was painful for both of them, but Rita couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. Over time, they drifted apart, their once vibrant relationship reduced to painful memories. In their third year, a twist of fate brought the truth to light. Lisa had confided in her closest friend, Martha, about her plan to ruin Rita and Jake's relationship. However, Martha and Lisa had fallen out and were no longer friends due to Lisa's betrayal. Lisa had slept with her boyfriend and she caught them red-handed. Feeling appalled by Lisa's actions, Martha, determined to make things right, approached Rita with the truth. Rita, there is something you need to know, Martha said, handing over proof of Lisa's deceit. Jake was telling the truth. Lisa framed him because she was jealous. Rita's heart sank as she realized the magnitude of her mistake. She had pushed away the person she loved based on lies and deceit. She knew she had to make amends. With a heavy heart, Rita sought out Jake. She found him in the theater rehearsing for an upcoming performance. Taking a deep breath, she approached him, her voice trembling with emotion. Jake, I need to talk to you. She began. I found out the truth about what happened. Martha confessed to me that Lisa framed you, and I saw evidence of her confession. I'm so sorry for not believing you. I was wrong to have doubted you in the first place. Jake paused, his expression unreadable. The pain of the past months was evident in his eyes. Rita, I appreciate your apology, but the damage has been done. You didn't trust me when it mattered the most. I don't know if I can go back to how things were with you. Rita felt a pang of sorrow, but understood his perspective. I understand, Jake. I just wanted to say I'm sorry and that I regret not trusting you. You deserve better. Their paths continued to cross occasionally, but their relationship remained strained. Rita threw herself into her studies and her campaign, while Jake focused on his theater work, each trying to move forward despite the lingering pain. As their final year approached, both Rita and Jake found themselves reflecting on their time at the university and the experiences that had shaped them. Their graduation ceremony was a momentous occasion, marking the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. On the day of their convocation, the campus was abuzz with excitement. Friends and family gathered to celebrate the achievements of the graduating class. Rita, dressed in her cap and gown, looked out at the sea of faces, feeling a mix of pride and nostalgia. As the ceremony began, the university president delivering an inspiring speech, followed by the presentation of degrees, Rita's name was called as the best graduating student, and she walked across the stage to receive her award, her heart swelling with a sense of accomplishment. After the ceremony, as students and families mingled, Rita spotted Jake across the courtyard. He was surrounded by friends and family, his smile bright and genuine. Gathering her courage, Rita made her way over to him. "Jake!" she called out, her voice steady but soft. He turned, his smile fading slightly as he saw her. "Rita, congratulations," she said, extending her hand. "You have accomplished so much. I'm proud of you." "Thanks," Jakes replied, shaking her hand. "You too. You've done amazing things here." There was a moment of silence as they stood there, the weight of the past few years hanging between them. Finally, Rita spoke again, her voice filled with sincerity. "Jake, I know I have apologized before, but I need to say it again. I'm truly sorry for not trusting you. I let my emotions cloud my judgment, and I lost someone very important to me because of it. I don't expect anything, but I wanted you to know how much I regret it." Jake looked at her, his eyes softening. "Rita, I've had a lot of time to think about what happened. I was hurt and disappointed, but I've also missed you. What we had was special, and I don't want you to let it go because of a mistake." Rita's heart lifted with hope. "Does that mean—" Jake nodded, a small smile forming on his lips. "It means I'm willing to give us another chance. If you are." Tears of relief and happiness welled up in Rita's eyes. "I am, Jake, more than anything." As they embraced, the pain of the past melted away, replaced by the promise of a new beginning. Their journey had been tumultuous, but it had also taught them valuable lessons about trust, forgiveness, and the strength of their bond. From that day forward, Rita and Jake rebuilt their relationship, stronger and more resilient than ever. Their love story became an inspiration to their friends and peers, a testament to the power of forgiveness and the enduring strength of true love. As they embarked on the next chapter of their lives, they did so together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, hand in hand.